This program is brought to you in association with First National Bank of Botswana.
FNB, how can we help you?
Good evening and a very warm welcome to First Issues. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. As people, we have varying ways in which we deal with the many facets of our lives, including our finances. Some people can be observed to be very good with money, in that they seem to be living a financially stable life in which they continue accruing some assets such as houses and land. These people will have some money tucked away somewhere accruing interest, while at the same time participating in some stock trades, additionally having a separate account for financially rainy days. There's also a group of people who live paycheck to paycheck and always seem to be having some sort of financial problem or the other. Their lives are characterized by unending debt repayments with overcommitted incomes that support a lifestyle that cannot be maintained by their take-home salaries or whatever income they have. Take note that these behaviors are not encouraged by how much one earns, but rather by their discipline towards money. You might find that in our first example, the person earns less than 10,000 pula a month, but is able to do all of these things with a single income. And then in our second example, the person might be earning close to 50,000 pula a month, but is drowning in debt. These examples, however, may apply inversely. While these are the very common examples of the varying relationships that can exist between some people and their money, they are just a fraction of the different relationships that do exist between money and people. As a study, experts have categorized these relationships with money as financial personality types and are described broadly within a set of financial characteristics. Joining us this evening is financial consultant Edna Dambe, who gives us the different financial personality types and why it is important for everyone to know and understand their own type.
The importance of financial personalities is that it allows you to be self-aware. It allows you to understand yourself to a point where you're able to address any adverse behavior that you may have with your money, And it also allows you to deal with any symptoms before you actually get into trouble. I mean, it's similar to someone who can feel the flu approaching, and they quickly, get into the right mode. Enough rest, enough water, medication. Same thing with money. I've heard about a sale, Black Friday, whatever. Let me get myself in check.
Edna, people can be described broadly within a set of certain financial characteristics. Would you care to now please give us a brief description of those?
Yeah, let me just list these characteristics. You've got, in the broad sense, you've got the impulsive user of money, and this is where we find the debtors operating within. I'll expound on all of this much later. Okay. Right? And yes, you've got impulsive, you've got the planner. Now here we find within this category, we've got the saver and the investor, right? And then we've got the emotional, right? The emotional users of money. And here we find the giver and the hoarder, And, last but not least, you've got the denial category. And this is where we find the ostrich. And, as soon as you mention the word ostrich, you can just picture their head in the sand. Those are the broad categories.
Okay. Do you find that one's personal confidence level has any impact or bearing on their financial behavior?
Yes. You're going to find there are basically two categories of people, You've got the one with the high self-esteem and the one with the low self-esteem. Now, a person with a low self-esteem is peer pressure driven. they spend to impress, and they're uncertain of their financial decisions. So they tend to go with whichever flow they will see as popular, and that has a negative impact on their money. And then you've got the person with a high self-esteem. Now, this is somebody who is decisive. They know what they want, and their money, their actions are strongly tied to their values. So you find they're not likely to chop and change from one major financial decision to another because of this basing their decisions on their values. You know, they're confident, they've got their self-confidence, so they're not looking to either belong by driving something that somebody else is driving, or just trying to stick with the popular decisions. No. So one's self-esteem has huge bearing on the way they end up using their money, and obviously on their financial success as well.
Our conversation continues on financial personality types on a following episode of First Issues, where financial consultant with Money Matters, Edna Dambe, explains each financial personality type.